Hey guys, I know it's been a long time since I've done a vlog, so today we're starting with pumpkins for the fall festive season. It doesn't really feel like fall here right now, so I'm trying to get festive, but today I'm going to be roasting sugar pumpkin and acorn squash, so you can get your fall harvest recipes on. So I'm going to show you how to make pumpkin puree with this little guy. He probably only yields, maybe about a can's worth. So this is a 15-ounce can of organic pumpkin. So this is an organic pumpkin. So you can make the same thing at home. I find that the fresh pumpkins taste better. They have more flavor. You can use these little sugar pumpkins like this one, or you can actually even roast your jack-o'-lantern pumpkins if you cut them up like the day before Halloween, and then you can roast them in the oven. I like to do that. You still need to cut off the top of the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, just like your jack-o'-lantern. You want to clean out the filling. And you can roast it two ways. I'm going to show you how to slice it and roast it today. You can honestly just poke a couple holes in the big ones after you've cleaned out the middle. And then you can put the top on. You can put foil on the top instead of the top if you want, just to cover the hole so it doesn't dry out. And you literally just pop it in the oven on a sheet pan and you bake it. So that's probably one of the easiest ways, and the skin just peels right off, and you can put it in your food processor, zip it up, done. So today I'm going to show you how to roast the little sugar pumpkins and cut them open. We're going to do the acorn squash at the same time. So you can use this to make casserole, pumpkin pie, you can make soups, you can make pasta sauce, you can make all kinds of stuff with pumpkin. But the sugar pumpkins are sweeter. They do tend to cost a little bit more, but it's kind of at your discretion. So anyway, let's get started. All right, so to start with, I have cut my gourds in half. I just have a garbage bowl here. I like to use a ice cream scoop, believe it or not. It actually gets in here really easily and just scoops out the filling nice and smooth, so they come out perfectly clean. And you can clean the spoon out just like when you got batter in it. So I'm putting this on a sheet pan. I just lined it with foil. If you are a seal mat person, you can do seal mat. Parchment paper works. It doesn't really matter for this. It's pretty simple and basic. You just don't want a bunch of goo all over the bottom of your pan. You can cut these in quarters if you want to roast them, or cut the roasting time down just a little bit. They are pretty hard to cut, so you want to make sure you have a sturdy surface to cut on. You want to make sure that they're not too wobbly, because they are difficult to cut through. If you notice, I still have the tops intact up here. So on both of these, and I just kind of ripped them right there. Otherwise, trying to cut through this is going to be a nightmare. So anyway, I got some olive oil spray. You can use coconut oil if you'd like, whatever. Just coat them real good. We have salt and pepper. It's a nice hearty sprinkle. If you're not going to use the pumpkin as savory capacity, you're going to want to just use salt. So you do want to salt your pumpkin puree for your, even for your pies. It brings out the sweetness. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And then I have my oven going at 350 right now. So I am going to put these in the oven, and I'm gonna roast them for about an hour at 350. I'm gonna check them, see where they're at squish-wise, and then I'll determine how much longer they need at that point. Usually based on the size of the pumpkin, you're gonna wanna roast them longer the bigger they are, just like a turkey. I'll post some guidelines in the details below based on the weight of your pumpkin, how long you should cook it for. These are smaller guys, and I have them wholer, so these will probably be about an hour and a half, roughly. If they're starting to get a little brown on top, like I have a gas oven here, so sometimes they can crisp up real nice. I'll put some foil on it, but we'll go ahead and check and see where they're at in an hour. If I feel like they need foil and they need to get a little squishier, then we'll do that. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, I just pulled these out of the oven. You can see they're really soft now. I can put my finger in here pretty good. They're pretty warm too, so. But you can see it's pretty soft. You want to be able to make it scoopable though. So I'm going to go ahead and let them cool a little bit. I'm going to cover them so they can kind of steam a little bit. And then I will start scooping it out as soon as they're cool, because they're pretty warm still. All right, so pumpkins are out of the oven. They are cooled. So you can see they're really soft, but they're not overly soft. You can see the texture and the fiber in these. So you don't want them to be ridiculously soft. They shouldn't, I mean, unless you're baking a whole pumpkin. It's easy to get the skin, so you got to be careful not to pick it up. It's edible, so you're not going to die if you get some. But it's going to be a little tougher to get through for obvious reasons. So we're just going to get in here, scoop this out. So my mother got a recipe for making your own pumpkin puree from, I don't know, one of our schools or something when I was a kid. And we make our own pumpkin puree almost every year. I try to reuse the jack-o'-lanterns because, you know, if I'm going to spend that much money on a pumpkin, I'm going to try to eat it. I don't like throwing things away. Last year, the one I bought was already, I didn't realize it, but it had some soft spots. Looks like maybe somebody dropped it. So it was already getting moldy. And I only bought it like the day or so before. So I was a little miffed that it was gross and I couldn't roast it. It's kind of ticked off, as a matter of fact. But something big like that, I usually cut it in quarters or smaller to roast it. So I already did 1/2 and pureed it. And you can see I'm using my little Bella thing for this little one. For big pumpkins, I use my food processor. I find that, oh, I've got to put this in my garbage bowl. I find that it just seems to work better. You want a little water in here. Just kind of fill it out. I'll probably need more than that, but I just start with a little. So give me 2 seconds. Let me zip this up, and we'll see how much more water we need. See, you hear it's kind of getting stuck. You can see it's not quite there yet. So I did only cook this for 1.5 hours, just so y'all are aware. So this little ones don't need to be cooked long, like I said, but they do cost quite a bit more. I think I paid $3 for that one at Whole Foods. I'm sorry, no, at Trader Joe's. So Whole Foods, I know they're a bit more. You pay by the pound. Okay, I just want to show you something. So I have the canned puree over here, and then this is my fresh puree. Stuff's like liquid gold. We don't want to waste any. So I'm going to store this. It keeps in the freezer 3 to 5 months. If you seal it tighter, it's going to last longer. But it keeps in the fridge. Once it's pureed like this, it's only going to last for, trying to think. It'll probably only last about 4 to 5 days in the fridge max, right after it's been cooked. And that's if you refrigerate it right away. Sorry, this little guy has little edges in it and it gets stuck. So anyway, okay, so you see how yellow that is. The sugar pumpkin's more yellow than the jack-o'-lantern, for sure. So, excuse me. But this is the canned puree, and this is our fresh puree. So, even though this is organic pumpkin puree, this is also organic pumpkin puree. It's just homemade, excuse me. So, those are those. And then I just want to show you this briefly. The Acorn Squash comes out just the same. You can serve it in a mashed and pureed form. You can make soups. You can actually just scoop it out of here in chunks or peel off the skin. And you can roast it up some more and serve it once you cube it the way you want it. So this is a really delicious vegetable. It's one of my favorites, actually. And then the other thing you can do that I did not do with this is you put herbs in it when you're roasting it with the oil. Sage is delicious with acorn squash. You can use rosemary, you can use thyme, whatever you like, really, honestly. So I'm going to make a soup out of this one. So I'm actually going to go ahead and puree it up too, just the same. But it's a much lighter color. Obviously, you can already see it's a lighter color than the pumpkin was. So, anyway, so choose to cook this however you like. Acorn squash is a wonderful fall vegetable. You can make pasta sauce with it, just like the pumpkin. And it's really, really tasty. It goes great with chicken, fish. If you want to eat it with fish for a fall vegetable, you could do that. The skin is quite a bit tougher, you can see, than the pumpkin was. So it's a little easier to scoop out of here. But my spoon's still slicing through some of this, so you see I missed a spot there. Down by the bottom where it's sitting on the pan, it's a lot thinner, so it falls apart a little easier. So I'm going to puree that one up just the same. This one doesn't have the top on it, but if you wanted to scoop out, I'm just going to get some of this out so I can show you really quick. Alright, so you see it's pretty easy to scoop. I mean, just using a regular old soup spoon. So, got some good stuff over here. I can't pass up on the good stuff. So give me 2 seconds to wash my hands. Alright. This will do. So you can cube this up pretty easily. You see it's already kind of falling apart. Almost like twice bake it, you know. Just put it on the roasting pan, a little bit of oil, and you can put it with some herbs. I mean, this is really a very hard vegetable to peel when it's raw. So my recommendation for cooking this is to roast it first and scoop it out. Maybe not roast it this long. And these are like an hour. So maybe not roast it this long just so that it's easier to scoop out. Maybe put some foil over the top of it before you put it in the oven. Excuse me. But definitely you can scoop it out more easily once the skin is soft and it's easier to cook. Oh, man, liquid gold over here. I don't want to miss out on that. So, like I said, my mother's been doing this for a number of years. Sometimes she gets a little busy with work, but you can make all kinds of stuff with pumpkin and acorn squash and butternut squash exactly the same. You would just do the same thing. And every time I make butternut squash anything, I roast it first. It adds more flavor. You can put herbs inside of it when you're roasting it, and the oils from the herbs just really get into the flavor of the squash. So please, please go have more squash. Enjoy. Make sure you really get to savor the fruits of fall. These are just amazing, amazing fruits. Savory fruits. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed these puree recipes today. I hope you use them in your pies, in your casseroles, your pasta sauces, etc. You can make wonderful soups to just sustain you when you need that warm fall meal that you don't want to cook. They go great in the freezer. They keep forever. So, okay, not forever. They keep a while. So anyways, I hope you give these recipes a try. You have stuff to keep in your freezer, have really delicious fresh pies for the season, and really go out and indulge in the fruits of this season. They are just full of flavor and deliciousness. So we wish you a happy fall.